One of the best moments in D&D is whenever the DM says, "Roll for initiative." Now, this is a small moment in the game, right? It doesn't take long. It's simple. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Well, I've learned that for some reason, this little instant in the D&D experience actually relies heavily on timing and on preparedness. Now, there's many other moments in the game during interaction or shopping or whenever where it doesn't matter if the pacing of the game is slow. You can take your time and it gets casual. But that moment of rolling initiative, that very beginning organizational spot at the opening of a combat encounter, suddenly timing really has a big impact. You don't want a scene that has built up to an epic clash or even an ambush that kind of boom comes out of nowhere to lose its energy. If you're building up to a combat encounter or there's a shocking sneak attack moment and then suddenly you go into a long disorganized setup, it can actually kill the excitement. It can diminish the investment of the characters into the combat, and it can break the immersive tone. Now, typically a group who hasn't exactly got the organization of initiative figured out, at the beginning of combat, it happens something like this. The DM says, "Okay, roll for initiative." "I got a 15, 16, I got a 5, 6, 22. And the DM thinks, "Whoa, okay, I mean, come on, guys, I can't remember all of that." And he's already starting to get monster stuff written, and maybe he's rolling initiatives and his own D20. It's not a great way to start it. So here's how I handle initiative and also tracking hit points in combat in D&D. Maybe you have a different way that works better for you. Totally fine. This is how I do it. And if you do it this way, it is going to keep you organized and keep things flowing well. So here's what I do. Now, you could use just totally blank printer paper. That's fine. Or you could use lined paper. I think that's even better. What I prefer is grid paper, aka graph paper. Lined paper is fine. I just think grid paper gives you even a bit more organization. So here's one way you can do it. You say, "Okay, roll for initiative." Everyone rolls their initiative. Maybe they shouted out their numbers. And then you say, "Okay, who got highest?" Then Anji says, "I got a 22. So you write Anji 22. And see, I've written it up towards the top because that's a high number, 22. That's probably going to be first or among the first couple combatants that go. Strager got a 14, so I'm going to put him down a little bit lower. See, I'm leaving some space because the monsters are going to go in next. Elka got a 9, so she goes down after a bit more space. Yoni got a 5, and I've put him down there at the bottom. So now it kept things organized because they just told you from highest to lowest what they rolled. Then you go rolling the monsters. The Wisps got a 24. Okay, so that comes before Anji. The Slotty got a 16. Plug it in. Death Knight got an 11. The Hezro got a 7. Then over to the side, you can track the hit points and see how this graph paper really helps to keep things organized. So let's say there's 3 Slotty in this encounter. You write down their starting hit points throughout the encounter as they lose hit points. Cross it out and just mark it down like that. Keeps things super organized. This also helps if the monsters have spells. This is another reason why I like the graph paper here, because it's so easy to put the monsters' spells here. In this case, these Death Slotty have some limited amounts of innate spells of Fear, Fireball, Cloud Kill, and Plane Shift. And you're also noticing that I do abbreviate in places. In fact, some DMs just put the first letter or the first initial of each of the player characters. So A, S, E, and Y for Anji, Stragor, Elka, and Yoni. Here's another way you can do it. If you, the DM, have a moment of preparation time before the session, and you know there's going to be a combat encounter, roll the monster's initiatives ahead of time. This will make things go even faster. So here you can see, before the session, I knew this encounter was 90% probably going to happen. So I've put on here the initiatives that I already rolled ahead of time. Literally just rolled them like normal, wrote them down. I also wrote down the monster's hit points as I showed on the other paper. The Death Knight here doesn't have innate spells, but rather spell slots like character classes do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for first through fifth level spells. As he casts them, you can make dots, or you can make the hatch marks. That's a convenient way of doing it as well. So you've got this all in place, and then when you say roll for initiative, and you hear this, all right, 5, 10, 23, again, you just say, okay, who got highest? Anji got 23, put him at the top. Then they're looking at each other, I got an 18, you only got 18, slide him in there. So as long as you have this approach at the beginning and a bit of forethought, it's going to make things more organized. And that's really about all there is to it. So like I said, I never thought this was such a big deal, but I've seen people do this in different ways that are slower and less organized. I've also seen initiative tracking products, which I think just overcomplicates things. It should be simple, it should be fast, and you should do it in a way that doesn't kill that energy or that tension that you've built up right there at the beginning of the combat. So I hope this tip was helpful for you all. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, may your adventures be many.